David O. Russell.
Oh.
This is one of my favorite directors, and I heard Huckabees being one of my favorite movies. I've heard he can be, again, we're going to use the word challenging, a challenging director to work with. What was your experience like working with him on Joy in 2015?
It's so funny that I wish I had, well, just to contrast it, I wish I could think of like somebody that really did drive me crazy. I had an opposite reaction to, I think, a lot of people, to David O. Russell and his direction. I went in to audition for him, and I had just found out that a close friend had been diagnosed with cancer. And I was not in any mood for bullshit, basically. And literally had just found it out. And I had bought a little angel wing. Oh, I have it. I had bought this. I bought this. So this is an angel wing, and it's a left angel wing, and it's made from recycled computers. It's silver that they recycle out of computers. I think in Mexico, people started a business collecting trash and making jewelry. So I bought this at an arts fair. And I bought a right wing for my close friend who had cancer, because he and I, despite our close relationship, are ideologically completely opposed. So he's a right winger and I'm a left winger. And so we argue, but the thing is, the angel doesn't fly unless it's got a left wing and a right wing. That was our feeling. So
I dropped that over the United States.
So we're like, okay, that's it. We've cleared restaurants, by the way, of all our other friends who call me the next day and go, "Are you guys okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why? What happened?" We don't even know, because we're screaming at each other. So that friend had been diagnosed, and it really freaked me out. So I walk into that audition, and I don't know, there was something that David seemed equally pissed off at the world or something. I don't know what it was, but he was in the mood for no bullshit too. And it was like, oh, good. Somebody else doesn't want any bullshit. Great. What is it? And he wasn't looking at me. He was looking at the monitor. And I think at a certain point, he starts reading with me and improvising. And I'm like, look at me, I didn't say that, but I was like, hey, I'm over here, and I don't know. I walked out of that audition kind of going, well, they're not going to hire me. I'm such an asshole. So anyway, they did hire me, and they hired me to play a bit of an asshole who gets Jennifer Lawrence arrested. We did. That was the last day they shot in Boston. It's a thing called French hours, where if you're going to work all day, I think it's a 10-hour day, and you're going to work nonstop. You get paid a lot of money for doing this. No meal breaks, no nothing. But at the end of that 10 hours, the crew and everybody puts down everything, and that's the end of the day. So you must do it in 10 hours. So they were on a must do, and it was all my scenes, all that one day. And Jennifer had, I think, been under the weather. I think she'd had a flu or something. And so she was, her energy the day before had been pretty low, but she came in, man, she is, no wonder why she's a superstar. I mean, for somebody that age, that woman is so together and so good, like really good. Like I go, wow, I've been doing this for a long time. I even pretend I teach it, and it's like, she's so good at it. She's so good. Yeah. And she's really great, good to work with. Wonderful. So
she's not hard on the eyes either.
Oh, she's just, she's got everything. She's got everything you need to be a good movie actor, And so I was prepared for how he was, and he's very gruff, coarse. He hated what they put me in. So I walk on, he goes, I hate it. He sends me away, does it twice, 3 times. He's screaming at the costumer. And finally, I knew the costumer from another thing. And I said, you know what? I know what he's looking for. And I said, I brought everything I wore to the audition. It's in my trailer. And I said, and I have this necklace, and I had that on that day. I'll bet if we put that stuff on, he's going to approve it. So finally, the customer throws up and says, send somebody a trailer, put it on. So we put it on, we put this in. I walk in and he goes, now that's it. That's perfect. Like that. So then we're in, he does weird shit to you. Like he'll say stuff like, what's that? Your radio voice? What's that? Your radio voice? I don't want your radio voice. Just talk to him. Like he'll say, and then he looks at me, he goes, does that bother you when I talk to you like that? And I go, no, not really, even though it really did. Made me nervous. But he goes, well, I talked to George Clooney that way. He said that. So
Are you George Clooney?
Yeah, right. So I'm like, okay, if you talk to George Clooney that way. And then our final scene, we're running so late, he's gonna, we gotta stop in 10 hours, and we're gonna shoot the scene where I get her arrested in the warehouse and all this. And all of a sudden, the script supervisor runs up to me and she says, look, David wants to cut these lines that other people have. He wants you to say this. He wants you to do this. And he wants to change that line. And she gives me all this stuff to do as I'm standing on the other side of these double doors where I'm going to go in and catch Jennifer Lawrence in the thing. And so I'm like, what? So she goes, yeah. So you're going to say all that. And I'm like, whoa. And he runs over. He says it to me. He says, here's what I want you to do. Say this. And he walks away. And I look at the script supervisor and I go, did you write that down? Like, what do I end up saying? And she goes, oh, no, I didn't write it down. I go, well, how am I supposed to remember that? And she goes, oh, nobody ever does. So she goes, he's going to change it. He's going to change it when you're out there. And he says, and she says, and when you're out there, if you don't get it right, he's just going to yell at you and yell the line and have you say it until he likes it. And I'm like, what? And she goes, yes, that's the way he works. And I'm like, you're kidding me. And she goes, he does it with Bradley Cooper and he got an Oscar. So I was like, all right, holy shit. So those double doors swing open and I have no idea what I'm about to say, but I start grabbing lines that I can remember that he told me. And Jennifer is like, I want to get out of here. I want to leave Boston. I want to go home. We've made this movie. And we're both kind of saying what we think we're supposed to say to each other. And then every once in a while, David would yell, let's do it again. Say it this way. And it was a friggin' blast. I thought it was hysterically funny. I would hate to be the editor who has to cut his voice out because he does kind of sometimes overlap you a little bit. So I'm like, oh shit. I should say the line twice. So you say it twice or whatever, but it was just cacophony and I love chaos. I actually think chaos is a really great thing because it creates real human behavior. And we got to the end of the scene and Jennifer gets dragged out and thrown in the cop car and driven away. And they go, that's cut. That's a wrap. We made it in time. She bounds up the stairs, gives me a hug. She goes, we did it. We got it done in a day. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. So I had nothing but fun. And then I'm driving home from the set and I'm the local hire. I don't feel like I'm anybody special. So I just leave the set and I'm driving home and I get a phone call and they go, hey, where'd you go? And I said, well, I'm heading home. And they go, well, David wants you to go to the wrap party tonight. And they were having a little wrap party. And I said, can I bring my wife? And they said, of course you can. So we went and I had a friggin' blast at the party and he was really, really nice. And so sorry, he may be challenging, but he's another really hard worker.
I think it makes sense why he gets that reputation, because it sounds like he doesn't put on the facade that most people do when I appreciate when someone's a dick to my face. I'm like, okay, they're honest. They're at least real. I can trust what they're saying. I can trust when they say something nice because they're not afraid to be an asshole when they're feeling like being an asshole. And I'm not Mark Wahlberg, so you could be an asshole to me as much as you want to. That's a fantastic story. David O. Russell, what a treat.